What's going on? What's going on, world? It's your man Chuck Creekmur, aka Jigsaw for allhiphop.com. And we are here with King ISO. What's going on, my brother?
Man, it's a pleasure and it is an honor, man. What's going on?
Oh man, it's all about you right now, man, for sure. You know what I'm saying? Now, first things first, you have a new album out, Get Well Soon. And is this is your debut album?
This will be my this is my sophomore album with Strange.
Okay.
But yeah, this is definitely my most recent one, man. It dropped on the 21st of January. So
okay. Yeah, you made it. You're making a big splash with this project. So we'll talk about it a little bit more in a second. But first of all, let's just talk about you a little bit. Tell people a little bit about yourself.
I'm a Navy brat. I done lived all over the place. I was born in Newport, Rhode Island. Lived in Maryland for a little while. My mom was on the go. She, a super hard worker. Ended up landing in the Midwest after some time in Omaha, Nebraska. I've also lived down in Atlanta for a little while. And man, here we are, man. Midwest definitely raised me though, you know what I'm saying? And big shout out to Tech N9ne. A herder, you know what I'm saying? Like we can't call him the GOAT no more. He started going by the herder, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
He came and scooped me up, man, and we've been rocking ever since.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, my first thoughts when I saw Omaha, I was like, yo, what's out there? Like I don't know much of anything about that.
It's so crazy because like all of the Midwest, and then just from traveling too, bro, like everywhere looks exactly the same. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it definitely looks the same. What was I gonna say? Being here though, man, it's a lot of important history here, especially like even with it being Black History Month. Like this is the birthplace of Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? So we have a lot of dope stuff going on around here. It's just as far as when it comes to like mainstream media and like entertainment, we don't really have no hubs. We don't have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like dope outlets like yourself. So when we get a chance to be a part of something like this, it's a real big thing. And that's why I stated initially that it's an honor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you for that too. When you say it raised you, the Midwest raised you, what did that look like? What did that entail? How was life like for you in that regard?
Well, the Midwest, man, is a big melting pot. You know what I mean? And there is a lot of influence that we have taken from the West Coast, the East Coast, the South, of course. It's one big old mixture, one big old gumbo pot. So I was fortunate enough to have all of these different elements to add to my sauce, as people put it. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, it was definitely a culture shock moving from the East Coast out here. There was just so many things going on at once. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially like one thing I could definitely use is like hip hop wise. Getting older and being around the music scene, it was always somebody pulling up like, check this out. I ain't heard this before. Where they from? Somebody else, where they from? Are they from Texas? Are they getting down like that? You know what I'm saying? So I was fortunate enough to have all of these different CDs and tapes and just studying, you know what I mean? So many different elements. And it made me who I am today. For sure.
Yeah. So what made you actually start pursuing rap and hip hop? Like what was the catalyst for that?
Man, what it was that I grew up, I've always been a writer. I love writing. I could even go to say like I was like more poetic as a child. Like I just loved just writing. I was writing what I was feeling, stuff like that. My stepfather, he's real heavy in hip hop. So every time we got in the car, it would be one of the first things that really like made my mind be like, yo, what's that and how do they do that? Was East 99 by Bone Thugs.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you know, that album starts off, I'm like, yo, what's this? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
then he was real big on Ice Cube, real big
Mm-hmm.
on Tupac, real big on Busta Rhymes. So every time I got in the car, like, you know what I mean? And then like me, you know, as a kid, like I'm trying to learn the lyrics and I'm off mumbling them in the corner. He be like, "What you know about that? What you know? What you know what they talking about?" He
Yeah.
quiz me on it. Like,
Yeah.
what's Pac say? What does Pac mean when he say this? And I'll be
Yeah.
like, I'll go do my research, and I'll be
Right.
like, oh, you know, he made me get to the point of understanding content,
Yeah.
and shortly after, man, I was like, I wanted to do it myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 You know, one of the first things I noticed is that you rap really fast, you know, and the bars are pretty intense. And
Appreciate it.
there's a skill to that that most people don't even try to do anymore. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um, how did that develop? It's true talent.
That means a lot. First and foremost, man, we say thank you. Um, what it was that, like I said, like Bone Thugs was like one of my first introductions, as well as Pac. So I would always try to figure, especially trying to figure out what Busy Bone was saying. But Crazy Bone for
Mm-hmm.
sure, I could, you know, it's a couple of them I could definitely, I could catch it. And then it was just me wanting to know the songs and recite them.
Yeah.
And on top of having Bone Thugs be a big influence, Twista and Do or Die,
Yeah.
heavy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was always some of that going on, and I'd be listening like, bro, they going in like, and in my mind I'm like, I could do that. Like, if I could say it back, I could. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Imagine trying to write down a whole Twista verse when you're like 12 or 13 years old. Twista be,
Mm.
you know what
Yeah.
I
He's
mean?
crazy.
But that was like those were elements to my sauce, you know, in the beginning stages, and then wanting to have that content behind it. I didn't just want to just say anything while I was rapping fast, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or just having the skill of rapping fast. I wanted to make sure that there was some content behind it. Because there's a lot of people who can do it, but when you really break down what they're saying, it's just a whole lot of words put together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of content, your album "Get Well Soon" is content heavy.
Appreciate
It's
you.
it's a lot of going on, and I really do have to go and unpack the whole thing. It's
Yeah.
18 songs over an hour long album project. So definitely want to congratulate you on that for actually having a lot of substance and things to actually unpack,
Thank
which
you.
is which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
What made you take on? Well, give us the overview before I ask the question. Give us the overview of the album and what it means.
Okay, so Get Well Soon is it is a capturing moment and also like still relevant to today. Originally when I was homeless at the time, my mental health had deteriorated probably close to the lowest it's ever been. And having a child at around that time and needing to snap myself back into shape and just getting stuff done. Um I was homeless, and my son would come to this park that I was at before I shortly was able to get into like some little rental space. It wasn't even a house. It was just I got to sleep in somebody's studio.
Mm-hmm.
But shortly after that period of time, I was in a mental hospital, and my son was between like 3 and 4 years old, and his mom had him write me a get well soon card, and that time was a real big motivational period in my life, and that fueled me to get where I am right now. You know
Mm,
what I mean?
right, right.
Mm-hmm.
And to take on mental health in your personal life is one thing, but it's a whole nother thing to take it and address it and then give it to the world.
Right,
Um,
right.
what made you do that in such a grand fashion?
I appreciate you, man. So I want to say about it's like 5, 6 years ago, I was just now really starting to tour around the nation, and I was doing like a lot of live shows, of course, in different areas, and I was watching and studying the way that the crowds and different groups of people were reacting, how they're reacting, and what they're reacting to. And I got a slow flow that's sharp. I have a fast flow that's sharp. I could sing. I got, metaphors, all that other stuff. You know what I mean? Crowd control, hype stuff, low stuff, um, and all of that connected, right? But what really connected was when I did songs that were impactful.
Uh-huh.
Like I did all the rapidy rap stuff. I did all the metaphors. I did all of that ooh ahs and calisthenics and tricks like that. But when I got on there and I started talking about mental health, it's like everybody stopped what they were doing and they really started paying attention. And making people cry from it, and people coming up saying like you saved my life and stuff like that. I had a switch go off in my brain. I was like, I don't even want to be like the best rapper or the rapper with the dopest bars. Like this person just told me that they were gonna kill themselves, and I made them want to change their mind because I made them feel like they weren't alone and like they had the strength and courage to keep going. Like I'll take that over anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Wow. Okay. Major. That's something that's near and dear to my heart too. I do a lot of work, and we actually did I think the I forget, National Mental Health Day, whatever it's called. We did a nice panel with Mickey Fax and an artist named Nikki Lynette out of Chicago. We did a panel. We tried to get Royce the 5'9", but he was doing his own thing. So we tried to get him and Charlemagne, and they were both doing their own thing.
And I appreciate what all of those individuals are doing for mental health right now. It's finally getting to a point where it's becoming a talked about thing rather than like taboo as people tried to make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The recent death of the young lady, Miss America, I believe, she jumped off a skyscraper, and that shook people up for real.
Yeah, man. It doesn't discriminate, and it is very, very rampant and alive in Black America. And that is something that I've talked to a few health professionals about. Some of these people really feel like mental health is non-existent in Black America, and I'm like yo, we got to do something about that, because number one, how we grow up, where we grow up, how we're raised, and the things that are put in our minds, it makes it so it's not a thing that we talk about. Just because we don't talk about it doesn't mean that it's not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
the environments we've come up in, and what we were forced to, you know what I mean, to go through, and just kind of like it's just a part of the norm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely talk to my daughter. She's a teenager, as if she may have a, you know what I mean? Like everything could seem fine on the outside, and I still kind of talk to her like as if maybe, there's an issue, because because sometimes you can't see it, so I try to teach her things to cope with whatever she may be dealing with. And she may not come to me with everything. I know she's not going to tell me everything, so yeah.
But what I will say is this. You are like somebody who I hold dear to my heart, just from you saying that as a parent. It's this lady named Hillary, and she had a son who committed suicide. He was a young kid, but this cat used to go around and do speeches at like 4 or 5, 8 years old, and just really, really did everything in his power to raise awareness about it. Unfortunately, he did take his own life. But what I told Hillary, who was his mom, I said, you're doing something that a lot of parents don't do for kids, whether you realize it or not, is that you give them that safe space, and you give them an outlet. Coming up, how we, a lot of us have came up. A lot of parents don't want to hear that. They're, and I don't fault them for not understanding. But now that I'm older and I'm realizing everything I went through as a kid and having kids now, I don't ever want my kids to feel like how I felt. That's, you know what I mean? That's not to take away from our parents, grandparents, or different peers around at the time. Maybe it just wasn't really talked about back then.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with my mother, you know what I'm saying, a couple years back, where she had to apologize because she didn't think it was real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And growing up, you know what I'm saying, like if I'm dealing with that and she has that type of standpoint on it, it's going to make me fortify myself with every bit of a poker face and just reluctancy to touch on it as possible.
Yeah. Well, I forgot to I neglected to say that my daughter and I did counseling together for 2 years. You know,
That's
her
beautiful.
mother wasn't a part of that, but I didn't fault her for that because I just don't think that everyone is, you know, it doesn't register with everyone. So we
Right.
did it. We just did it together. And that's kind of why I say it
Yeah.
leads to me continuing to check in on her.
It's an honorable thing, man, and it's a beautiful thing, even if you don't understand it, because we're in a society right now, man, where all type of things popping up. I don't even have to pinpoint what they are, but it's kind of like, if this group of people feels like this, then hey, do y'all thing. And I feel like if we got all that going on, mental health should be a breeze. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
definitely.
Because I feel like everybody has some sort of relative way that they could have some sort of just comprehension on what another person is going through to some degree. I feel like it's more common than a lot of people realize.
Definitely. You mentioned on the album, you say I used to mutilate.
Yes.
What were you? Where were you, and what were you doing at that time?
Man, I was probably around the age of like, I started probably around like the age of 10 or 11, and it was just something I did, and it was something that whenever I would have like a manic episode or something that was pretty much like a blackout, I did it as a coping mechanism. So what it would do is it would distract me. You know what I mean? Like, and it was just something I didn't even realize that I was doing any harm to myself at the time. I had no clue. And when I would go to school, I would definitely cover it up. And one day I met this girl. She was like probably the most popular girl in school, but she got bullied a lot because she was pretty. She came up to me. I was sitting by myself in the cafeteria, and she pulled my sleeve up, and she was like, "What's this?" And I said, "I don't want to talk about it." And she was like, "Well, here's my number, and let's talk about it." And from that moment is when I began to unpack my mental health and really understand and dive into it, or really start to, you know what I mean? Just learn what was wrong with me.
Yeah. How are you now these days? With all of your, you know, how do you cope or how do you deal?
Yeah.
Or where are you?
Yeah, I'm in a much better place than what I was. I feel like what helps heal me is helping others heal in the process. Because when I was committed under the Board of Mental Health, one thing that I really noticed was that a lot of people aren't going home or being able to be discharged because they don't want to have anything to do with the programs. I do it on my own. I don't want to come to group today. I'm just going to sit in my room. And I really thought about it like, well, I was like, I was committed. It wasn't like you can check in and check out. It was like a court ordered thing. Like it was mandated that I stay in there. I said, well, I got to do the work. I got to do these safety packets. I have to come and I have to express myself to these people, or I'm not going home. And I wanted to go home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I took that with me when I got out, and it wasn't like anything I could lie about. It wasn't anything that, because when it was like a little, not to go on a rant or anything, but it was like a court proceeding, and it was like a panel of like 12 judges, and like my mom was there, and I come out in shackles and cuffs, and I had this elaborate scheme of like a speech, like I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna word it right. I'm gonna use big words. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just really elaborate everything. And man, I said this speech, and they looked at me and they were like, "Yeah, you're smart, but nah." And when that Malik cracked the podium, dog. It was a wrap. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So I say all that to say, like, using that, actually doing the work method and being open about what I'm feeling, and realizing my coping mechanisms, resources, identifying triggers, realizing when I'm in crisis and what to do. I take that with me every day. And even at the shows, I do it. We have group therapy sessions, and instead of meet and greets. Like sometimes we have these meet and greets, people come in and take a picture, shake your hand. I like to open a open discussion with all of the fans. Like, and they were like, how do you deal with this? Or how do you do? And I feel like those things that they can take with them and apply to their life.
Yeah, that's dope.
Is better than any rapping I could do on stage. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that right there is like, that might have saved them, because I remember when I didn't do it. So yeah, to answer your question, man, I'm in a real good place right now. Nothing's perfect. I still have my symptoms. I still go through my, I go through my funks, but I'm more equipped present day to deal with it.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you.
I got it. So let's switch a little bit to the music and the album. We talked about Twista, but did you guys get in studio? Were you sending tracks back and forth? And ultimately, how did it feel to actually be going bar for bar with the fastest rapper on earth?
Yes. So I met Twista when I was on tour with Tech, and we did this show that it's like in Colorado. It was like Fiddler's, something like that, Fiddler's Green, something like that. It was like 20,000 people there, bro. It was one of the biggest shows. I think that was the biggest show I ever did. And I go backstage. You never know who you're gonna meet on the road when you with Tech. So Token popped out, Hobson popped out. A few people were there, and then I turn around. I'm like, oh shit, is that Twista? He walked up, coolest guy ever, man. Shook his hand, and he was like, yeah, man, you dope. You know what I mean? We just shooting the shit back and forth, and I was like, man, I would love to work with you one day, man. And we snapped a picture, and we went our separate ways, and we've just stayed connected ever since then. And I had this track, and I really wanted him on it. It was actually supposed to be on the last album, but I sat on that song for that long. And because when I made the beat, I was like, I hear Twista on this and I hear Ritz on this. So I got Ritz on there, and we still had the third open verse, and I was like, I can't put this out unless I get Twista on it. Like, I got to figure out a way to do it. Twista was real busy. Twista's doing a lot of dope stuff right now with gun control and gun safety, and he's out there really, really putting on and doing his thing. So I'm like, maybe he's just busy. And he put an album out, and he's doing like shows here and there. He's got a lot going on. So I was like, well, maybe I'll catch him next time. And I did a show recently in Chicago, and his partner that's on stage with him, he was there. I met him, real solid individual. A couple guys from Crucial Conflict. And it was like, we kicked it, and we had a dope conversation after the show. It was all love. Shortly after that, Travis O'Gwen over at Strange, he hit me like, hey, Twista just sent something to you. Oh, wow. So I'm on the tour bus, and I'm like listening on my phone. I'm like, oh, he did it. Yeah. And I don't know. I was like, maybe I was functioning with his people, and they said good things. I don't know what it was. He just, he killed it. And yeah, man, it's an honor, man. Shout out to Twista, man, for real.
Yeah. So, I got to ask you about working with Tech N9ne. I'll never forget meeting Tech N9ne at South by Southwest, like forever ago. I mean, probably 15 years ago at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good dude. How's it working with him on Strange Music?
He's by far the dopest individual I've ever met musically. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on the label. I'm saying it because that's the most eclectic artist I think I've ever listened to in life. And he's everywhere with it. Classical, rock, trap, hip hop, R&B, metal. He's literally touched what it was like dubstep, whatever he just did with this guy Hush. It's like It's like he that's a creative motherfucker, bro. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that dude is like. And when I was young, I always was like, you know, I got introduced to him a little bit after I started writing. You know what I mean? It was around the LimeWire days, and one of my buddies came over with a sampler. They used to give out free sampler CDs. This was like 2001 or 2000. Turn it on, and I hear these wild ass drums, and Tech just starts doing his thing, and I'm like, who is this? Went and downloaded all this stuff. I couldn't find it in stores. You know what I'm saying? Like Best Buy and Sam Goody wasn't on they stuff at the time. And shortly after they were, and I should buy everything. And I studied this style a lot, and he made me want to go here, do some West Coast stuff, do some, you know, just that Midwest melting pot thing I was talking about earlier. Like Tech embodies that. So to actually work with him, it's crazy because you learn so much. Watching him on stage, like he's really a performer. He doesn't have backtracks, none of that. Everything he's doing it live. And he tells me, gives me all of his notes. Like, hey, look, write to perform. Don't write it unless you can do it live, and make sure you do this and have some sort of set way to do this. You know what I mean? Like he's giving me so much sauce and so much just so much knowledge on how to be, you know, profound in hip hop. And on top of all of that, he is the dopest cat, just period. Like he's everybody calls him an angel. He's a nice guy. Never have caught a bad vibe from him. He's always full of positive energy. He's always like, he's that silver lining dude. You know what I mean? Like something can be good. Look, check it out, man. We're gonna do this, man. Don't worry about it. You know, bam, bam, bam. We got it. And he always got this big smile on his face. And I'm like, I feel like that's why he's so blessed, that the energy he puts out is literally what he gets back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Good dude. So you guys worked with The Rock. How did that come about, and what was your involvement in that song?
Yeah, so you know, Tech is always full of surprises, man. And shout out to The Rock for sure. He's Tech is The Rock's favorite rapper. And we always thought that was crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we do this song. That song is probably almost 2 years. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So we did this song, and he sent the beat over. No, he sent the song over, and he was like, I got this idea for a song. I'm gonna call it Rumble or something. I'm gonna do something like that. I'm gonna figure it out. He finally sent it, and he was like, yeah, I'm thinking about putting this on the album. And I think it was the album that he put out before Asinine, the one he just put out.
Okay.
It was him. He had a verse on there, and then Joey Cool had his verse on there, and he sent it to me, and I did my verse, and there was just an open fourth verse. And I think that he intended for another strange artist to be on there, but I don't think they ended up sending their verse back. So we sat on that song, and what we gonna do with that song? And then he called me one day, and he was like, man, I got this idea for that song, man. That song's too dope. He said, he was like, maybe I can just get The Rock to talk at the end of it or something like that. He was like, so I'm gonna reach out to him. I said, man, I was like, that'd be crazy. You know what I'm saying? He messaged The Rock. He was like, yo, I got this song I did with my brothers, Joey Cool and King ISO. He was like, something like, it'd be an honor if you said something at the end, just talk some shit. You know what I mean? And The Rock was like, man, I love the song. I want to rap on it. Tech was like, oh, what? You know what I'm saying? So when he told me that, I already know. I was like, yeah, this song is about to do something, because whatever The Rock touches, whatever he's a part of, you know what I'm saying, it's always just ridiculously massive. So I didn't know what it was gonna sound like or nothing. I just knew that, you know, it was gonna be crazy. And then when he did his verse, it was like, holy moly, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when he got the verse back, and they did another mix on it, and, you know, tightened up the drums, and you know what I mean? It just made it sound super duper fresh. They were like, yo, we got to do it. They start devising this plan, like, how are we going to fit The Rock, or how are we going to fit into The Rock's schedule to get him to do a video part? We got to do this the right way. It was like a 10-month process. Sitting on that song and getting everything lined up, all of the assets lined up, getting the proper look together, and them spending so much money on the video sets, having, I think, some people from his team out in LA or something like that flying to Kansas City, and then vice versa, they fly out there. He has to step off the set of like a movie or something he's doing, and he has like an hour window to do that for 45 minutes and go back to doing what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like the dude's working on Black Adam right now. He's like got all of these different side projects. Red Notice, you know, the biggest Netflix movie ever. Like it was crazy to watch it actually come to fruition, because in my mind, I'm sitting back like, you know how busy this dude is? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, if y'all can make it happen, dope. You know what I'm saying? Or I just hope that we get the, you know, get everything we can out of the song, because it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But the even crazier part is that The Rock being who he is, right? I think they said something like, and I could be wrong, and definitely don't quote me, but a post from him on his Instagram is like worth like a couple $1 million, right? It could be, I could be lowballing.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
The way he got on there and he promoted that song like it was his song, that's one of the dopest things I've ever seen anybody do. You got the #1 star in the world tagging Tech N9ne, of course, who's his favorite rapper, and they you know, they like this. But you got me and my and the homie Joey Cool, who just a couple cats from the Midwest, ain't doing too much. You know what I'm saying? We rapping, we here, and you tagging us,
right?
You shouting us out, and
that's
it's
amazing.
like I jumped up like 50,000 followers, and the royalties from the you know, the mechanicals and the streams start shooting up. There's all these Spotify subscribers. Like he really made it to where everybody ate off that play. And he didn't have to do that, but
that's
he did.
Yeah, that's amazing, man.
Yeah, this I got on right now came directly from him. He sent me and my kids all type of Project Rock gear, just because, like, hey man, what's your address, man? I want to just show some love, man. Like The Rock.
Yeah. The #1 star in the world, literally. Crazy.
And he's an angel, bro. I told Tech, I said, man, I haven't met too many people like that. So it's crazy when you do, because it's like, you know, some of us are conditioned to be like, nah, man, everybody got some sort of. Nah, there's really just genuine good people out there that want to see you win. They ain't here to do nothing but spread some of that positive energy and help lift you up any way that they can. And The Rock and Tech N9ne embody that for sure.
Yeah, dope. Well, back to you. What do you, you know, I know you just dropped the album, so I don't want to start talking about the future already, but you know, what's next and what's on deck? What do you want to get out of this game? I mean, you're off, you know, you're doing your thing, but
I appreciate you, man. I'm a person who's always searching for a purpose, man. I always have to have some sort of purpose and some sort of direction. Otherwise, I feel lost. I need to know what's the mission, what's the goal, what are we doing? And when I first got into hip hop, I didn't really know. You know, I feel like a lot of people go towards that. I just want to be the best, and that is a very good drive to have, especially if you're only measuring that by what you're doing. So you're only competing with yourself, and you want to make yourself better. You'll always, in my opinion, you'll always feel inadequate measuring yourself to somebody else, because you don't know what heights they're going to reach next. So for me, I got to a point where I was like, you know, like I shifted from wanting to be like the dopest. You know, I feel like everybody's, you know, like if you play basketball, you want to be the best. If you play football, you want to be the best. You know, everybody wants to win a championship ring. We're the best. I'm the #1 player in the league, you know. But with this, it's different, because I never realized how much music could make an impact. I never realized it until I got out there in front of 10,000 people, in front of 5,000 people, even 100 people, even 10. You know what I'm saying? And I get messages from people, and they're like, "Yo, I'm 10 months sober because of you. I started going to the gym because of you. I'm going to therapy because of you. You know, or I put the heroin down because of you. Or last night I had a gun in my head, and my friend showed me one of your songs, and I just rethought my whole situation. I'm gonna keep going because of you." I get messages like this every single day. So for me, I'm like, well, I gotta get out here and I gotta keep raising awareness, and I gotta get involved in the communities. and just really help a lot of people out that maybe they don't know. Maybe their only outlet is music. Maybe they can't talk to nobody. They're not comfortable talking to nobody, but they put them headphones on for an escape, and they're like, wait a minute, this guy gets it.
Definitely.
So let me get into my beginning steps of recovery, and just wellness all around. I want to do as much as I humanly can with that, whether it's linking with other people, nonprofit organizations, health benefit shows where we donate all the profits to this. I want to start an organization that just helps everybody that's dealing with it, and just making like a hub for connections of resources and all of that. And I just want to be a person that's just involved.
Man, that's amazing.
Appreciate you.
That's beyond purpose. That's like just God working through you.
Amen. Facts.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Definitely. Yeah, man. Well, King ISO, I wanna thank you, man. I like to leave a little extra. Greg will tell you I can talk, and we can talk, but I like to leave something for another conversation so that we can link back up and chop it up again, man. Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you a ton, man. That means everything to me, man. It's an honor to be able to touch the platform, man. I grew up going to the website, back in man, I think it was like 07, 06. We didn't really have too many different social media was not really popping like that. Like MySpace was this thing, and then the Facebook thing came in a little bit, and a lot of different publications weren't super duper like accessible like that for us, as young teens. And we just used to go to allhiphop.com. We'd be like, oh, who getting ready to drop? Or we had to run home and try to catch 106 in Park or Rap City. So it's crazy, you know what I'm saying? So, it's once again, I definitely want to say that it's been an absolute honor, you know what I mean?
Yeah, salute, man. We're turning 25 in a couple years now.
You see what I mean?
Yeah,
and congrats, man. That's such a beautiful thing. So I used to just, like I said, man, we'll go to the websites, man. We only had or that we only knew. We had All Hip Hop. We used to, I think Rap Radar was another one. And I think that was it. And I think Hip Hop DX too. And we just would we didn't really have nothing. So I was talking to my partner the other day. I said, yo, man, like I'm gonna do something with All Hip Hop. He was like, yo, we used to check that stuff every day because we didn't know when the rapper was dropping. We didn't know if they was in the studio. And I ain't trying to be long-winded, but I got to get it off though. Back then it was different, bro, because we didn't see the rappers in the studio. We didn't see what they ate for lunch. We didn't see them in the gym. It was just an article would pop up, and then we'd wait, and then we have to go to where the videos play at. You have to catch it. You know what I'm saying? So it's dope to see a pioneer, you know what I'm saying? Like you guys still kicking ass and doing it in such a profound way, man. And it's dope for me to be a part of it. You know what I'm saying?
Word.